What up, y'all? What up, man? What up, man? Get up in here, man. Get up in here. Y'all asked for Black Pill History Month. Y'all asked for Black Pill History Month, man. I don't know, some of these pills might be too harsh for y'all. Might be too harsh for y'all, man. I guess the subject I'm finna talk about, I got the right shirt on. Shells, what up, man? Stefan, what up, man? Cam, what up, man? Chill, what up? Stefan, what up, man? What up? Tech Boy, what up, man? Hey, I wish this was a hoodie. Shit, no, it's just the crew neck. I wish this was a hoodie, man. Straight up. I think the day I bought this, they didn't have no more hoodies in my size. Saul, what up, man? Yeah, you gonna find a lot of motherfuckers darker than you today. Stephen writes the Redskins are darker than me. We'll let a few more people get up in here. For this latest installment of Black Pill History Month. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna do one of these every day. Well, I haven't done one every day, but trust me, these gonna be some strong black pills that y'all go get during Black Pill History Month. Right? Start pulling up these pictures while I'm waiting. And let me download this video real quick. Yep, got it. Hopefully all my emails got in. Everything I shared with myself got in. Yeah, look like everything got in. All right. All right, man. Where do we start? The history books lied to y'all. The history books told y'all that you, black people, you were put onto a boat hundreds of years ago, stacked head to foot, right? On top of each other, with chains all around you, 300 people at a time, men, women, and children, all chained together, head to foot, on a ship with no toilet, with no running water, with no food, across the most dangerous stretch of ocean in the world for a 3-month journey on a wooden ship. Right? That's what the history books taught y'all. Now, we have much discussion today about this whole matter of who's indigenous to this land and who's not indigenous. Now, in 2014, I came along and I told y'all something different. And for all of my day ones right here, I would love if y'all can recall anybody who started talking about this shit before I did. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I know I'm not crazy. I made Women Are Nasty in October 2014. And I made the Root Slave Narrative video back in, I believe, November of 2014. Now, before that point in time, can y'all recall anybody who was talking about this subject online? Oh, and by the way, that Root Slave Narrative video, that was my most flagged video ever. I bullshit you not. From, I think, November of 2014, either late October, early November 2014, when I first published that video, all the way up until, I want to say, probably the summer of 2017, I had to file an average of 5, and that's just the average of 5 flagging appeals on that video every day. So there's a lot of people that seem to have a vested interest in the truth not coming out. Now, I have no idea who was flagging that video. I don't know if it was $5 pretendians, alleged, or as we would call the alleged Native Americans. I don't know if it was pro-blacks doing it. I don't know who was doing it. It was white people doing it. But that was my most flagged video ever. Not women are nasty. Not the videos about the ghetto gaggers. None of that shit. No. That was my most flagged video ever. The Root Slave Narrative video. Tech Boy writes, to let them tell her, apparently you stepped off a pod into the cargo bay of a ship with no history before that to speak of. And these people actually believe that shit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they actually believe this shit. And they expect you to believe it. They expect you to believe that outlandish story. They expect you to believe it. Why? I don't know. Just pulling up some shit right quick, and then we can move right along. No news. What up, man? What the fuck? Okay. So, in this version of history that you've been given by your miseducation system, right? It's a few things that they leave out. It's a few things that they leave out. The things that they leave out, first and foremost, is that they can't explain to you how the CIA has found Noah's Ark. They call it the Mount Ararat anomaly. They found it by satellite photography. They can't explain to you how they found warships that wage battle in the Peloponnesian Wars between the Greek Federation and the Persians. Well, I should say the Greek coalition, the coalition of Greek states. You know, Thessalonica, Sparta, Macedonia, Athens. That they can find the ships that were used in the Punic Wars between Rome and Carthage. They can find the ships that were in the Battle of Jutland in World War II. They can find the ships that went down in the Civil War. Matter of fact, I think they brought the USS Monitor up and reconstructed it. That they can find all these different ships, but they can't find all of these slave ships that they was talking about. I've had people argue with me, oh, well, they found 20 different slave ships. 20 out of centuries of slavery, they found 20 ships. Oh, well, you know, the slave ships probably got repurposed. Yeah. Well, when ships get repurposed, you know what they do? They note that in the logs of the ships. For instance, the first aircraft carriers in our Navy were repurposed colliers. They used to carry coal. And so it was noted that they were repurposed. Your teachers, they forgot about that part. They forgot about the part where Giuseppe Verrazano, under the employ of the French, landed in New York and went up the river estuaries that connect to the Atlantic Ocean. And you know what he said he found? He said, yesterday I found a tall, well-muscled, copper-colored people with coarse hair and sunny dispositions who differ little from Ethiopians. A white man said that. Right? So fast forward to today, and we have all of these back and forth debates. We have all of these euphemisms that's given to you by these academics, even though earlier academics controvert what they say. Carlos Queiroz Marquez, Mexico's foremost paleontologist, said that before the arrival of the European, North America was a black continent. Now, he said the Americas were black continents. That's what he said. That's what he said. But then the modern day paleontologists will tell you about what culture overtook another. Even the alleged Native Americans themselves tell on themselves. So now they want to try to switch it up. The Pueblo people, they call the tribe that predated them the Anasazi, which in their own language means strange enemy. What was so strange about them? The fact that they was black and you not? What was so strange about them? Oh, now they want to try to change it up because that's not politically correct to call them strange. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So now it's time for the black pill. It's time. Your teachers tell y'all silly things like, oh, well, the natives came here. North America was completely uninhabited, and the natives came here across the Bering Strait land bridge. So they want y'all to believe. Now, understand this. Fresh water freezes faster than seawater. Fresh water freezes at 32 degrees. And that's just enough just to make it icy, to have ice crystals in the water. For it to freeze solid, it's got to be unbelievably cold on a consistent basis. So, like when you see people ice fishing, in Canada and in Minnesota, in Michigan, it's probably been like below 20 degrees at least for some weeks for that ice to be solid enough for them to bring all that equipment, drive on top of it, right? So if it gets that cold consistently, for fresh water to freeze, how cold would it have to be for seawater to freeze? And especially when you're talking about some ice that's so fucking solid that thousands of people can walk across it for thousands of years, lugging everything every fucking worldly possession that they have with them. I think that if it was that motherfucking cold, you wouldn't be able to walk nowhere. That if it was that motherfucking cold, you would have to dig underground to take refuge. That's you talking about NASA spacesuit temperatures at that point. Because these same type of natives, these same Siberians, when it gets that cold in Siberia, that's exactly what they do. They make lodges. That's what they used to anyway. They made lodges out of fucking skins and shit that was halfway underground. If it's that cold for seawater to freeze up so thick that people can just keep walking across it where it's thick like a literal bridge downtown. What are you talking about, like 80 below or some shit at that point? Like I say, you into NASA spacesuit territory at that point. What do y'all see on this image right here? Y'all see this image up here? These are Mayan warriors. The dark skinned ones are Mayans. What do y'all notice about this picture? What do y'all notice about this picture? Notice that the dark-skinned Mayans are wearing clothing. They have their tribal vestments on. Notice the difference in appearance between the Mayans and whoever this is that they have in captivity. Y'all notice the difference, right? Y'all notice the difference? Yeah, the light ones are slaves. The light ones are slaves. Now, let's add some common sense to the bullshit ass Bering Strait land bridge hypothesis, because it's never actually been proven. Right? Yeah, you right about that, K Sega. You right about that, Cortez. Those Mayans definitely ain't the ones they showed in the Apocalypto. You right about that shit. You're right about that shit. Right? Now, did other people come here besides indigenous blacks? Yes. Did they come here the way that they lied to y'all and described it? I doubt it. Most likely, you had incursions by these Siberian people little by little. And the ones that were here either got assimilated at first or just outright, not assimilated, outright captured and made slaves. Because think about it. You coming to a whole continent of fucking people. You come into a whole fucking continent of people without any logistical support, most likely on rafts and catamarans and shit with very few weapons, damn near starving to death. You ain't finna take over shit. I want you to notice something too in this picture. What do y'all notice in this picture? This is another mirror from Chichen Itza culture, the Mayans. What do y'all notice in this picture? Tell me what y'all notice. What do y'all notice in this picture? It should be obvious as day. In this picture, it's the same thing. Notice that the dark-skinned Mayans are riding in their boats, and they have a light-skinned captive slave that is paddling all of the boats. Notice up here in this mural that these light-skinned slaves are doing manual labor, and that all of these dark-skinned Mayans seem to be chilling. Look at this light-skinned slave bent down on the ground. Look at these light-skinned slaves up here working at the top. Look at that. I bet you your history teacher didn't show you this. I bet you there's not one person in this chat right now that could tell me that any history teacher on any level of school that they've been to have showed them this. Thank you, Doug Dissonant. The captives are being serving to the people, the Mayans. Yeah. Right? Just look. Look again. Observe it. Right? Now here's a picture. Here's an Aztec picture. Here we go. We continue with the same thing. This is a picture from the Aztec culture. See, this was in front of y'all the whole time. This was in front of y'all the entire fucking time. I didn't have to go to any special archives and nothing to find this shit. This shit is just out there. Here we go with the same thing. Right about that, science guy. Science guy writes, the people here were black. When a so-called white man got here, they began to change the narrative through the Smithsonian. It came way before the Smithsonian, and through people like Walter Plecker. I did a lab on him already. But as you can see, once again, we have a light-skinned, straight-haired captive being butchered, I guess, for some type of weird sacrifice ritual by an Aztec, right? Was this picture in any of y'all history books? I doubt it. I doubt it. So then the question becomes, how in the hell could these people have got here? Y'all see that? This is a Pacific Currents map. So you can see that these currents, that it's possible, could have took people from all over the Pacific over here to the Western Hemisphere. Is it any coincidence that when you look at a lot of Mexican people from the South, like from Michoacan, that they don't look any different from Samoans? Because Michoacan is the southern Pacific coast of Mexico. And a lot of them don't look very different from Samoans. They don't. They don't. But here's a Pacific Currents map. You see that? Yeah, but that narrative, when you really examine that narrative with logic, Rodimus writes, they want you to think you only originate from Africa at the end. Yeah, but when you apply logic to that shit, it falls apart. Right? Now, as the Spanish began to build their empire, it was one thing, one commodity that was in short supply when they began to build their empire. You know what that was? You know what that commodity was? That commodity was black slaves. Black slaves were highly prized. And I'm not talking about from Africa either. Black slaves were highly prized because of their size, their strength, and their endurance. Now, before long, and here's another thing to consider, the indigenous black prisoners of war, like the Pequots that have been, and the Narragansetts that have been captured and put into slavery, were exceedingly difficult to capture because they were killing white people. I want you to look at it like this. For every Pequot that they forced into slavery, probably meant 5 to 7 dead white people. So you can understand how rare and sought after these slaves were. So the manpower gaps that the Spanish could not fill with black slaves. Look at this map. They filled those gaps by bringing slaves from the Pacific, from the Philippines, from Siberia. And the Spanish were trading partners with the Z dynasty. And so part of Russia today used to be part of China. It used to be part of the Mongolian Empire, therefore China. Like the Kamchatka Peninsula, that used to be Chinese territory. And you can find Siberian people there, no problem. Now, the Spanish were trading partners with the Z dynasty. And so part of Russia today used to be part of China. It used to be part of the Mongolian Empire, therefore China. Like the Kamchatka Peninsula, that used to be Chinese territory. And you can find Siberian people there, no problem. They captured those people, pressed them into slavery, and brought them over here, which is why you see so many alleged Native Americans and Mexican people that have the same phenotype as Siberians. This is why. It's not because of no barren straight land bridge. No. It's because of the Spanish slave trade. There's a book out there called The Manila Galleons that will explain this. Right? That's right. And look, this map was written in 1494. But remember, the manpower gaps that they couldn't close up with black slaves, they closed it up with Asian slaves. Y'all really believe that lie about, oh well they just started bringing them here to build the railroads? Bullshit. No, they have been here. Now understand that Spanish territory, now this is 1494. Understand that Spanish territory from here only extended northward, damn near to Oregon. So there was New Mexico, Texas, California, Arizona, Utah, right? And so you see a hybridized appearance among some of the tribes of the American Southwest. You know why? Because a lot of those slaves escaped and then they began to assimilate into those tribes. There were very few tribes that actually came to America from Siberia in pre-Columbian times and were able to make it. One example being the Pueblos. It's not very many examples of this because those indigenous black people were killing them and enslaving them and using them in ritual sacrifices. Yep, the indigenous Filipino people, the Negrito, yep. Filipinos were transported and settled throughout Louisiana and Texas before the dawn of the Civil War. Yeah. The indigenous Filipinos are black though. The Filipinos that we know of are just descendants of more Asiatic slaves that the Spanish brought to the Philippine Islands. They are. See, Manila Galleon route. Manila, look at that. All down the West Coast, Acapulco. Look at that. Have y'all ever seen this map in any of y'all school books on any level of school? I challenge you. I'm gonna let y'all look at that for a minute. Now notice that this Pueblo Cachinadal is wearing the same stripes that those captives of the Maya were wearing. Notice the horizontal stripes. It kind of reminds you of somebody that's in prison. Perhaps this is where the white man got the idea from in the first place, because they certainly wasn't doing that over in Europe. They didn't make prisoners wear horizontal stripes in Europe. Where did the white man get that idea? He must have got it from the indigenous black people for the prisoners that he's seen them having in captivity. And if the Indians knew that the horizontal stripes was good to track them against the background and terrain of the Americas, then the white man said, fuck it, we'll do the same thing. Right? I want y'all to see a video right quick. Look at that. These are old woodcut drawings of the San Francisco Bay natives. San Francisco Bay. These are drawings from the, I believe, the mid 1800s. Do those look like Siberians or do those look like people you know? Look at them. Look at these people right here. Look at these people right here. These are Mohegan people. So the Mohegan tribe is in present day Connecticut, what's left of them, New York. Look at them. Do these look like Siberians or do these look like black people that you know? Hell, that one at the top left-hand corner damn near look like my mother. Look at these modern day Pequots. Now understand with the Pequots, this is the tribe that they thought was extinct. This is the tribe. When you celebrate Thanksgiving, you celebrate the massacre of over 90% of the Pequot tribe. Look at the appearance of these people. These are more Pequot people. They got one $5 Indian white woman right there. Right? And this is a common theme that you'll notice with a lot of these East Coast tribes, where all of the Plains tribes and the West Coast tribes, all of those are imposters. All of those are Siberian natives. They were not even natives, just Siberians that came here as slaves. Siberian transplants is what they are. Some of them came here. Some of them came here across the Pacific Ocean on their own, and they made it a while. They actually managed to occupy some rural ass desert or something where didn't nobody know they was right there and live as a cohesive tribe. But most of them got captured and put into captivity or were killed. Later, some of them that escaped the slavery of the Spanish were able to go with and assimilate with the tribes that were there. Now, isn't this bizarre that these people are all supposed to be from the same tribe, but then they will be so polymorphous that you will have all of these members be black, and then you'll have one member right there in the middle that's white, apparently white, and then one right there that looks like one of these mongrel-ass Siberians. Don't you think that's bizarre? If they was a tribe, wouldn't all these people intermingle with each other? Wouldn't the polymorphism go away? Think about that. These are the Shinnecock. This is the tribe that old dirty bastard mother is from. Look at their appearance. Look at their appearance. I'm going to ask you, do these Shinnecock Indians, do these Shinnecock natives look anything like the Mongolians that they try to pass off to you as being allegedly native? Now, here's Shinnecock people at a later date. This is at a later date. I believe that says 1884 and they're writing at the bottom. Right? What about these people right here? What about these Shinnecock people right here? Damn. I know that motherfucker in the back on the left. God damn. Hey, yo, did this goofy ass motherfucker right here just compliment that female? You a simp! You a simp! Goofy ass nigga! You goofy ass nigga! This simp ass nigga had the audacity to call that bitch pretty! No, ain't no delineation, Doug Dissident, and that's where the black pill comes in. When y'all see all of these Eastern tribes, they force them to accept white members. They force them to accept them Siberian members. You know why? They force them to accept them because if they wouldn't, they would decertify their tribe. They force them to accept those imposters to try to keep promoting the theory that you're not from here. That's why. That's why. They force them to carry these people. If you go to Long Island on the Shinnecock Reservation and you see when they have those ceremonies and all of that shit, then people are damn near separate. That's because they imposters. It's not the black ones that's imposters. It's the Siberian ones that's imposters. And the day that these people refuse to let them pretend like they one of their tribe, they would decertify them as a tribe. And you know why it would be easy? It would be easy because everybody has been so lied to by the media and the educational system that they see the mongrelized, degenerate, drunk, fat, bloated, overweight Siberian as the face of what's supposed to expect it to be what an indigenous person looks like, and not you. Because you suppose that came from Africa. See, then they're not going to teach anything that doesn't degrade so-called black people and encourage a false white rulership among white people. That's the black pill right there. These people came here as slaves. You were already here and you were enslaved and transported to everywhere else. Or did y'all think that it was coincidence that at the same time that the English was fighting all of them colonial wars, that they were fighting all of those colonial wars, that all of a sudden all of these sugarcane plantations popped up on all the Caribbean islands staffed by black people? Y'all thought that was a coincidence, huh? Huh. Squib King writes, Siberian, Mongolian, and Austronesian invaders, they were the enemies of our Aboriginal ancestors. Yeah, they were. Now, as far as the Austronesian invaders that probably came across on catamarans, they were the ones that gained the most foothold. When you see them super dark, straight-haired, aquiline featured, those are Austronesian people that came across and gained the foothold. The Siberians and Mongolians, not so much. Only a limited number of those tribes. More of the Austronesians actually got on than the Mongolians and the Siberians. As a matter of fact, the Austronesians invaded and destroyed a tribe that inhabited Catalina Island, and there's archaeological proof of that. Straight up. Straight up. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this live, man. I just had to black pill y'all one more time, man. It's been a black pill PSA. Peace.